Okay, hello. Welcome, people. Welcome to a Monster Hunter tier list intro for this stream. So today we will be streaming some Monster Hunter World, but first off, I thought for Christmas we might do a little Monster Hunter tier list. All of the Monster Hunter games are here. All of the obscure titles you can think of as well. We're gonna have to create another tier altogether for the games I didn't play because at least half of these I haven't even played. But it'll also make for a good list of games that I have to actually return to and go ahead and play in the future. Rob's going to tackle the gritty questions today, and we're sure to get some backlash as well for everyone's own opinions. Okay, so we'll jump right into this. And because we can't have any D tier lists in when it comes to classifying Monster Hunter games, we're just going to have to turn D into did not play. Because, I mean, you can't really have a D-rated Monster Hunter game, can you? Well, let's start off by putting all the games that I haven't played yet into this little tier. This was just a lot easier to select someone else's pre-made tier list than to make my own and get all the images. I just want to give credit to Austin42967673 for creating this one, and if you like the tier list, make sure to follow him on Twitter. Okay, but we'll go back up here. Monster Hunter Double Cross is going to cover Generations and Generations Ultimate, and Monster Hunter Rise, they just haven't put Sunbreak in this. So I'm just going to classify Rise as Sunbreak. So we're going to do this in order of the games. And straight off the bat, Monster Hunter 1, I'm sorry guys, it's going to have to go into C tier. Monster Hunter 1 is just, I just didn't have the grandest of times with it. If you guys have seen my, I play the OG Monster Hunter game, so you don't have to. The title says it all in that one. I would recommend you give it a go. The Bullfango quest in that one still gives me nightmares. Egg delivery quest is awful as well. It was just really painful. Whenever you've got to find particular items at a certain amount of time, you can't find the gather spots. There's nothing that stands out on the ground as a gathering location. It's just not for me. 100% not for me. Monster Hunter 1. I think we all saw that one coming. Now, Monster Hunter Dose. I think this is one that everyone's kind of waiting to see what I think about this. But I may change my answer towards the end. Now, there's part of me that wants to put it on like an A tier list. But I think I'm going to have to put it in B. I'm going to have to make it high B, like a B+. Look, I really love this game, but the amount of times that I get really angry at it, I don't think I can quite put it in A. If I put another game in B later, and I think Monster Hunter Dose is a lot better than this, I might slip it up into like low A category. But Monster Hunter 2, it's looking like a B. And I'm going to flesh out my ideas a lot more in my Monster Hunter Dose review, which I am writing at the moment. At the moment, it's around high 5,000 words at the moment, and I'm only about halfway through. I've got a lot to say about this game, so you'll definitely be seeing that when it's ready. But in the meantime, we've got this tier list. Okay, so what's next on the release schedule here? We've got Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Easy A tier. Beautiful game. I love it. It's probably the first Monster Hunter old school, like proper old school game that I ever played. So I started with Generations, so you've kind of got that old school aesthetic there, but very much the modern action aspects with the hunting arts and whatnot. Then I went back and I played Freedom Unite, and I was just like, wow, like it was a lot slower. But the slowness of it didn't deter me from playing. It was just something magical about it. Great game. And then next, after Freedom Unite, I believe we're looking at Tri at that point. Tri's a B tier. And I only say this because and it's close to being the same, but how could you rate Tri on the same level as Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which I think I'm gonna have to put ahead of Freedom Unite. I just love that game. You've got that awesome feeling of Moga Village and everything that was in Monster Hunter Tri. You get that scaled up HD textures. It just looks beautiful on the Wii U. Fantastic. I love the journey in Moga Village, defeating the Lagiacrus and everything. I could play that game over and over and over. And there's something about just returning to the deserted island continuously just to gather resources and stuff, and you just become so familiar with it and you do your little expeditions. I just personally love it. I played Tri a couple of times, Wolf Lord. I played it I think semi recently. I just haven't gotten that far into it because every time I start playing it I'm like, oh, I think I'd just rather play 3U. Hey, it's like got that nice high definition textures and everything while still having that old school gameplay and sort of aesthetic about it, and you just haven't got any of those like hunter arts and crazy action abilities at that stage. No mounting, nothing like that. Maybe we're going to have to put Portable third somewhere around here. Now I think Portable third, while I really liked it and it was really cool, I still think DOS has like more to offer in its own original thing, whereas Portable third, you don't have G rank, the quests are really fast. I just think I wish I had more time with Portable third, and it just felt like a really fast experience. I do really like Yukumo. I like the vibe and everything, but I just can't rate it as highly as 3 Ultimate, and I even would say that DOS has more to offer than Portable third. So we're putting Portable third just below DOS in the B tier. But B's a good grade, you know. You get a B on an assignment, and there's nothing to be sad about, you know. It's still great, but you know, these are rankings, and we have to treat them as such sacredly. Okay, so I think that's all of 3rd gen. So now we're moving into 4th gen categories. We got Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate here. Now, I think this might surprise some people, but I think Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, while it's an A, I think it's a low A. I think I still overall prefer to play Freedom Unite and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. There's just something about the vibe about these two games and how I actually feel like I'm in some kind of believably nature environment. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, you probably heard me say on stream many times over that 4 Ultimate, while it's got really good gameplay and I love the story, hands down best story in any Monster Hunter, easy, the maps are what bring it down for me. I think this game has many great ideas, but the maps I'm not a fan of, and some people aren't going to like that because, you know, some of the maps are really beloved and whatnot. But I feel like the maps, rather than being actual believable places, they're more like playgrounds for testing out the mounting mechanic. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I just don't really feel like this is a believable place. And I just don't feel like it's nature. It's just a playground, really, which is fine for a portable game. But that's why it's there, and it's still an A. It's still an A. I just prefer these two over that. So don't ever think I'm hating on 4U. It's a wonderful game, fantastic, still an A, still a solid A game. But these two I just hold a little bit closer to me. I think Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I think just out of my own personal bias, how do I move this around? It's getting an A+. A+, because it was my first game that I ever played. I I've sunk lots of hours into it. I've somehow made multiple characters on this game, and yeah, I just love it, and I'm always going to feel nostalgic for that Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate intro, the music, all the maps, all the old maps. It was, and if it wasn't for this game, maybe I might not have loved these older games as much, because, you know, I went back to it and all the music that I heard in Generations, I was nostalgic for hearing, even though that these ones came first. But it really prepped me for old school Monster Hunter, and it's where it all started, you know. It was what made me fall in love with the series. So now we've done all of 4th gen, and we're coming into 5th generation. I think Monster Hunter World becomes our first S tier. First S tier, I know. And we're going to see a pattern from here on out. It's all about the order from now. But Monster Hunter World, I think the first time I ever played Monster Hunter World, there was a part of me that was somehow like repulsed in some way, like not as in like I don't want to say repulsed, because repulsed makes it sound like I was just like, oh, like I hate this, but I didn't. It's not that I hated it, it's just it didn't feel like the Monster Hunter that I was familiar with, and it was very, very different. But after playing games like Dose, Freedom Unite, 3 Ultimate, and just considering like all the elements that make Monster Hunter what it is, and I just think that Monster Hunter World, it just strikes that perfect balance of immersing you in a cohesive, believable world, slow-paced, heavy combat, which makes you really feel the impact of all your attacks, with that nature feeling as well. I just think it knocks it out of the park as an absolute masterpiece. Monster Hunter World's amazing. Somehow, every time I come back to it, I love it even more than I did before. So that's my opinion on World. Okay, we're looking at Iceborne next, and Iceborne just takes it up a notch. It just makes it, it's probably one of the best games I've ever played. Iceborne is absolutely godlike. It's just, I just don't know how they made Monster Hunter World so much better. They pretty much just improved on everything Monster Hunter World was lacking. They had a lot more better like armor and weapon designs, particularly on the weapon front. I wasn't there for you know, the live updates and whatnot, so I didn't really experience the grindy aspects as much with weapon augments and stuff. I was kind of like sped along. But I'm trying to play World through again, and maybe I'll try and experience it. Maybe my opinion might change after I've played it the way that everyone else played it. But every time I start up Iceborne, I'm like, wow, they really turned it up a notch, didn't they? They really made it so much better. I don't mind the Clutch Claw. The Clutch Claw, personally, for me, it's just a mechanic of the game, just as the Slinger was a mechanic of World. I think each time I've come back to it, I've just sort of accepted it for what it is a little bit more. Just as every game has its own little gimmick in it, that's fine. Anyways, Monster Hunter Rise / Sunbreak. This one's difficult. I think there's a lot of bias for Rise Sunbreak, because I think it's the first game that I ever, like, I was there for the release of, you know, I anticipated it, I waited for it to come out, and I played it while it was being updated and everything. I think that leaves a special place in my heart for me, and I've also just genuinely really enjoyed it. So if I kind of look past all the parts where I've gotten bored with it, and I look at the amount of hours I put into it, just on one of my characters, I have 1,000 hours in Sunbreak. So I just think there's no way I could put it anywhere other than S tier, in my opinion. And there's probably going to be hate because, you know, Monster Hunter Rise sort of gets a lot of hate for not being like the older games. It's a lot faster paced and whatnot. And I can take those criticisms. I'm completely happy with that, and I actually hope it goes back to a more slower pace, something more in line with Iceborne or World. I'd be happy if that's the direction the game went, but just from my own opinion and my unique experience, Rise is just always going to be really, really up there. And I could probably go in depth about this in a retrospective in the future, but that's as much as I feel like I'm going to justify it for now. But anyway, that just leaves us with Monster Hunter Stories 2. And where am I going to put this? Stories 2. I think I'm just going to put Stories 2 in between Portable Third and Try. Pretty much because I think it's great. It's a great game, but I will always prefer classic Monster Hunter above like any other kind of Monster Hunter gameplay. So even if I ever played one of like these games, it's never going to live up to what I first experienced in the series, which is, you know, like Generations and stuff like that. Also, the fact that I'm only halfway through the game and I never came back to it, I think that says a lot. So I think it belongs somewhere in B tier, but no way is B or A considered like a bad tier. So I don't think anyone should ever think that it's not a good rating. No Monster Hunter games except maybe this one I hold in poor regard. They're all fantastic to me. Everyone's probably going to have their own thoughts about this, but I'll probably save this and I'll upload it to Twitter or something, and people can get really upset about it if they want to. Okay, well, that's pretty much done. So at this stage, I think we're just going to play some Monster Hunter World, guys.